Good morning, dear listeners. It is 11 a.m. by our studio clock, and it is that special edition with the landmark Metropolitan University of Boya. I'm sure you all are getting used to the previous editions have been amazing, and today we have another school right here in the studio who will be dishing out something different, something inspiring, something transformative, and as soon as we catch our breath in less than no time, we will be back to get started with the program. The Bible said. Welcome back, dear listeners. You are in the company of Takom, Clarin, and Zivita this morning, and I have a host of panelists from the Landmark Metropolitan University, from the administrators to a student who will be telling us more about this particular school and also how it operates, not just limiting it to academics, but also in our day-to-day life. I am talking about the School of Engineering, and this is a very unique branch or school when it comes to the Landmark Metropolitan University, precisely the Landmark School of Science, Engineering, and Technology. And with me in the studio, I have the HOD of this department. I have with me the Director Delegates. I also have the other administrators. I will get to know more about them in the course of the program. Just to let you know that this department will be talking on the theme training the next generation of engineers for an emerging digital future. Training the next generation of engineers for an emerging digital future. Remember, the world is being digitalized, and wherever you find yourself, no matter your occupation, no matter your career, if you are not being digitalized, that means you're lacking, you're left behind. And we will be getting more from our panelists on board this morning. Let us begin with Mr. K in the studio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam, and good morning to all the listeners listening to us. It's a pleasure being here today.
It's a pleasure having you on board, Mr. K. We also have with me Madam Praise. Good morning, ma.
Good morning, ma. It's a privilege to be here with you, and good morning to all the listeners.
It feels good to get the voice of a lady when it comes to engineering. It is a rare department to find ladies, because most persons believe that it is a very tough field, and if there is a lady, that means ladies are breaking the protocol. Okay, and also we have Mr. Kang Modest. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity, and I want to give a special greetings to our listeners who are listening to us right now. We are Landmark Metropolitan University, particularly Landmark School of Science, Engineering, and Technology, and of course our listeners, stay tuned, and of course you see exactly what Landmark Science, the School of Science, Engineering, and Technology has to offer in terms of exactly the professional programs we run in our various departments. Thank you.
Of course, we expect to hear a lot about that as a program unfolds. Good morning, Mr. Jefferson.
Good morning, ma'am. A very big pleasure to be here today. Special greetings to all the listeners. Please stay tuned and just listen more about our school. Thank you.
Okay, dear listeners, just to let you know that that is the student representative who happens to be one of the lecturers of that department, and Mr. Kang happens to be the director delegate of computer science and engineering, and also the HOD of software engineering of that institution. Madam Praise is the HOD and network and security. We also have Mr. Ka, who happens to be the director of that department. So just to let you know that these are administrators, so whatever information you are getting the most accurate information from the right sources. And our lines are open in case you have a question or worry on 681-386680. So in the course of the program, you can send us a text message or WhatsApp message, or better still, put a call through. So straight away, let us dive into the subject of the day. Just like I said earlier, we are looking at training the next generation of engineers for an emerging digital future. Let us begin with the director of this department, who happens to be Mr. Carr. Once more, good morning, Mr. Carr.
Good morning, madam.
Okay, we are expecting a lot when it comes to this particular department. So can you just tell us a little about what Landmark School of Science and Engineering, or Engineering and Technology, is all about?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. I'll begin by saying that we exist as Landmark Metropolitan University Institute.
Yeah.
Within the institute, you have 4 schools generally, and our school is the Landmark School of Science, Engineering and Technology. Within it now, you have multiple departments, software, network, and so on, which we are going to be elaborating all about. Now, the School of Science, Engineering and Technology is one of the schools among Landmark 4 schools, and our vision generally is to train productive leaders and make all our students to indeed be the pride of Africa. With this in the back of our mind, LSET, commonly called, which is the Landmark School of Science, Engineering and Technology, revolve this idea principally across different levels, from the higher national diploma to bachelor degree and then to the Master of Technology. And our programs are in multiple different departments. Department of Software Engineering, which the HOD is here and also double as director delegate in the faculty. You also have Network and Security, that harbors the famous cyber security today, which you have Madam Praise Anya Marilyn, which is the head of department of that. We have Computer Graphics and Web Design. Unfortunately, we couldn't come with the HOD. We have Database. We have Digital Marketing. So there are programs that cut across, whether you want to do an HND program, or a straight bachelor program, or a top-up bachelor program after your HND, or you desire to do a master degree, we all do offer. And as time unfolds, we are going to be telling you specificity for each of the programs. I think in a nutshell, that is the School of Engineering. But generally, we don't limit ourselves only to focus academic programs. We have a series of programs which many of those listening to us this morning can attest to the fact that they have come to Landmark for one thing or another, either in symposiums or boot camp or capacity building workshop, which we generally don't limit it only to our students, but we open it to the general public. And as Landmark as a whole, one key thing we don't joke with it is holistic training. We believe that if you're wise and you don't have the fear of God, you'll be just a wise devil. So we insist on the aspect of the fact that holistic training is important. I'm sure that's one of the reasons why we're on Revival Gospel Radio, because we believe that holistic training is a whole. When you graduate, you're found worthy in conduct and in character, not just in academics. Thank you, madam.
And that is what makes Landmark Metropolitan University outstanding, because all the departments that have been here, they laid a lot of emphasis on holistic morality, character, which should be a standard for our living. Thank you very much, Mr. Carr, for that beautiful introduction. One thing you said that caught my attention is the aspect of training productive leaders. Not just training leaders, but leaders who are productive, leaders who will be able to add value to their society. I stay with you, Mr. Carl. There has been a a rapid growth so far when it comes to engineering, not just in schools but also in the society. Now, what precisely is that driving force? What is that particular thing that catches the interest of those who rush into this field?
Okay, thank you very much. You permit me answer this question alongside my co-panelists as well.
Okay.
Because in engineering, there is an aspect of building as a team. Teamwork is one of the crucial things in engineering. I will throw light, and individually as well, they are going to highlight one of the things that drive people into engineering.
Okay.
If you look at it carefully, statistics shows that by 2030 to come, 85% of jobs don't exist yet. Why? Because digitalization is driving things in other aspects.
Yeah.
If you go memory lane 10 years behind, when you went to banks, you saw a lot of tellers attending to you. But today we'll talk about ATM, automatic teller machine.
Yeah.
You see that you talk about medicine today, you talk about telemedicine. You spoke about research today, you see artificial intelligence coming into it. Now it means that almost all aspect of human endeavor today has an aspect of automation. And whenever automation is injected into anything, you've talked about technology. And that is the reason why most of the facilities in the world now are incorporating an aspect of automation. And as a result of that, us users, from the end user viewpoint, you see almost everything becoming digitalized. And everybody has to follow that particular trend.
Yeah.
It's as a result of that many people now find themselves going into engineering disciplines. One of the uniqueness we do is that you don't get into an engineering discipline at the university just having a science background in the high school. Our curriculum are well drafted to accommodate these diverse aspirations, those who live with a background that is not pure sciences and those who come with a background that is pure sciences. So this drive has driven almost everybody to want to be part of what I call today the cake of the present and the cake of the future. And in the past, we used to talk about crude oil being the oil. Today, we talk about data being the new oil. And if data is the new oil, you need those who collect this data, you need those who harvest from this data, you need those who mine from the data, you need those who secure communication over the data. So as a result of that, everybody wants to do an aspect of it. And if today we can speak to our millions of listeners, it's because someone has nursed that we can sit from somewhere and speak to others. So it's an encouragement. If you have a desire to get into technology, don't allow phobia drag you behind. Don't allow fear. So say today we're in the Android generation, and some people will say that we're in the AI generation.
Yeah, of course.
So many people are coming into it because it has the oil that controls the world now. The top richest people in the world are those into communication.
Yeah.
The richest people in the world are those into tech. And if even footballers want to make money now, it's through advert, and advert is done through media.
Yeah.
You see, everything now is going directly to media. And if you permit, maybe Madam Bison may want to add something to what I said.
All right, thank you so much. Just to add to what my director said, now if we look at the aspect of the job market and the pay package, if you look at the field of engineering, I'm talking about cutting across the digital marketing,
the various domains of engineering.
Now you will see that let me just focus on my area, network and security. You will see that as the years are going by, the number of let me say cybersecurity engineers that are required is increasing, and the pay package is also increasing compared to what the manual jobs. So there is no way you will see such a growth and you decide to limit yourself. That alone is calling the population to the field of engineering. Yeah, that alone is calling the population to the field of engineering, because if you look around, even the companies now that are employing the more are tech companies.
Yeah.
And are downsizing other
departments.
Exactly.
So this is actually one of the reasons why almost in years to come, almost everybody will actually be an engineer.
It's not even about a matter of in years to come. If you look at the present society, if no matter what you do, you must have something to do with tech.
Exactly.
Wherever, from medicals to banking and finance to which agriculture, yes, you will find technology happening around somewhere around the corner in one way or the other. So thank you so much for throwing more light on that. I'm sure Mr. Modest
yes.
also has something to add.
Of course, I do. Just to add to what the director and the HOD have already contributed towards the aspect of a lot of folks embracing engineering. It's a very important call in our today's digital economy. Now, if you look at exactly the theme of our talk today, which is training the next generation of engineers for an emerging digital future, our listeners will bear with us that there is a drastic shift already happening, like what Dad already said.
Yeah.
But where does Landmark as a school come into all of this? Everyone in Boya wants to go into tech. Students are asking which of the institutions, the hundreds of institutions in Boya, should I get into? Why shouldn't I go to A or B or C, but rather come to Landmark? That is because we offer a unique value. And that value stems from the fact that once students come to us, regardless of the background, regardless. We have had a lot of people who wished to be medical doctors, and because they failed the medical concours, they thought probably they are frustrated in life. No, we are not that institution. We take individuals that come in from diverse backgrounds. We have a standard operating principle we've set on ground to ensure that these students are actually being followed up, oriented, and given what we call remedial classes. You don't see that anywhere. We have a semester dedicated to ensuring that students from diverse backgrounds come into engineering. We bring them up to exactly the standards in which different students who have that background have already attained. Then we fly with them. We don't just end there. We ensure that at the level of these students attending lectures, it is always engineering is practice. We don't talk engineering. And that is why in Landmark we have one of the best teams in LISET, actually ensuring that the vision, which is actually that of everyone getting into tech, regardless of the field, whether you're in nursing, you are in accounting, you are in banking, you are in computer engineering, you are in network and security, you are in cyber security, all of us are ensured, or all of us must be able to use recent technology. Because there's what we call legacy technology. You go somewhere, they teach students legacy technology. In Landmark, we teach emerging technology. And that is why you see the theme of today's discussion wasn't just a mistake. We are looking at how we are taking these students to the frontiers of technology, to exactly what is employable in the job market. So depending or regardless of whatever field we get into, is it cyber security, is it mechanical engineering, civil engineering, all of those fields, we have them. What aspect of innovation are we bringing into those fields? LISET in the School of Landmark Science, Engineering and Technology is ensuring that those little tools that people think are not important, those are the tools that are needed in the job market. We ensure that our students master those tools and develop real-world projects. I think our student representative is here. He's going to share a couple of those projects. He's very fascinated about them, and that is why, I mean, when he finished, in fact, when he defended his bachelor's degree, everyone was wowed. And there are a couple of solutions that are already in deployment today that were developed by the same students we have trained.
That's a remarkable aspect. That's so remarkable.
Yeah.
You have something to say?
Yes. I wanted to highlight something as well. Director Delegate pointed out the fact that we bring in emerging technology in whatever we do. This solution does not limit itself only within the Landmark School of Science, Engineering and Technology, because Landmark is a unit. It means if you study medicals in Landmark, it's medical plus digitalization.
Of course.
If you study agriculture, it's plus digitalization.
So you ensure that every student, be it whatever they are studying, should have a touch of technology in their system.
Yes, and in that it exposes our students to build solutions for different areas.
Yeah.
A student working with a medical student will be working on a telemedicine application.
Exactly.
And you see that through that, both of them will share ideas from the medical, from the engineering, and bring up a solution that has to do with a lot of things. So it's not only the School of Engineering incorporate itself with the other schools.
Yeah.
And of recent, the School of Business introduced one of their programs at level of 400, if you can remember that, to make sure that the students doing logistics don't focus only on logistic concepts, but pairing with the students from engineering, they can do automated supply chain management systems that can track ideologies from one point to another. Those are the ways we implement our solutions as well.
Thank you very much for that beautiful one there. Over to you, Mr. Jefferson. You are the student representative, which means you have had an experience being a student. You've encountered the most difficult moments. You had classmates from different backgrounds that you understood their different systems. Now, if I may start, are you from the science background or something different?
Oh, thank you very much. I studied sciences in high school.
Wow.
As a science student, first of all, you grow up from a child and you watch scientific documentations of different children building cartoons, building games, building toys, and you're like, oh, you want to do the same thing. I was listening to my HODs and directors just talking about why you choose Landmark, and I was just laughing because I only chose Landmark because at the time, because of the high pay. I was not this wise to know that I can choose Landmark because of the other reasons. Those were from my parents.
Yeah.
Well, you finish high school as a science student and you're like, you want to build all of these things, and then your next question is, where should I go next?
Yeah.
You see a lot of people talking about the public schools, and you're like, well, let you try it as well. But then you're like, you want more practicals, you need skills and things like that. So from my experience, I've spent 3 years in Landmark, and all I can tell you is that if you're someone who needs skills, if you're someone who is looking for a place where you are going to be heard, because a lot of other schools, you don't have a voice, you don't have a place where you can feel heard.
Yeah.
Landmark is one of those places, or Landmark is the place for you actually, because it's a place where you're going to feel heard and you're going to grow a lot academically, leadership-wise, and a lot more. So that's it for me for now as a science student.
If you permit me, but I'll be a bit the journalist here. That Jefferson may have not highlighted something. First of all, I would like the viewers or the listeners to permit me to say is that Jefferson is not speaking like a student from a background that struggled. He was the overall best student in Cameroon in his year.
Wow.
So he was a 25-point candidate. He's not speaking from a other student that. So you see that even students that are doing very well at the urban level are still very confused.
Yeah.
I remember the very first time Jeff came to school, he had one of his systems that he was developing. Can you remember that system? And he was so excited about the system. He knew that the system was already working from high school. And when he went through lectures, he saw that, what I was coaching, there's a lot of things I was not taking into consideration. And today that system has been able to power our institution in one aspect or another. I think 2 years ago, we were able to use that system to power up. And this year in particular, we have been able to use that same idea to bring out the system which we call the EduRev. What is that system? It's an AI-powered system that helps to granularly evaluate students' performance. So it's not a Kairos metrics that gives you that you have a 60 on 100 you have passed. Even with 60 on 100 tells you you're failed, because it tells you aspect that you are not good at. That if in future it is examined at the percentage of 70%, you are going to fail that particular exam.
Wow.
And it was part of the team that led the development of that. So at Landmark, we don't only talk tech, as the deputy director said, we do tech. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. That was a beautiful performance from Mr. Jefferson. If you can have 25 points in high school, then I'm sure Landmark should be 100% proud to have you as part of their administrators. Okay, dear listeners, we'll catch our breath with this musical interlude. When we'll come back, we will continue to look detailedly into the subject matter.
got me thinking. It's the end time. This got me thinking.
Welcome back, dear listeners. You are on to RGRFM 105.5, and we are having that special edition with the Landmark Metropolitan University, precisely Landmark School of Science, Engineering, and Technology. And today they are talking on the theme training the next generation of engineers for an emerging digital future. So far so good. We have heard what engineering it's all about, not just limiting it to Landmark Metropolitan University, but extended to our daily life. And we have seen that whatever you do, technology will always find a way, because we are in the AI generation, as the director mentioned earlier. Now, on to you, Madam Praise. What makes the Landmark School of Science and Engineering different when it comes to the program? What makes it unique as compared to the same stuff found in other schools? What distincts this institution from others?
I'm going to be answering this question in three phrases. Firstly, let's look at the depth of the program. One of the things that is sure about Landmark is that we are actually technologically inclined. What am I saying? I'm actually saying that we don't just end at the theory path, like the knowledge.
Yeah.
We bring the practical aspect of it. So we have students, we breed students where when they go through their classes, they produce the project of their lessons. I would say, for example, I always tell my faculty, let me say, for example, if we teach the students about the different network topologies, by the end of this chapter, these students should be able to build projects, designing this network. So this is one of the key things that is sure about Landmark. We are project inclined, and even in our manner of teaching, we use the approach of problem solving.
Yeah.
The problem solving approach, because whatever knowledge we are acquiring is to solve the problems in the world. Mm-hmm. And so we give them this experience so that by the time they leave the academic field, they can relate to the world. And nextly, we run the HND program, we run the BTech program. We run this BTech program from those with the science background that they enter straight to engineering straight. Yeah. We run the top-up program, students with the HND, from there they can do the top-up. We run now the master's program. Now, one of the things about our program is that we don't just employ, we don't just pick tutors or lecturers. We pick qualified and experienced lecturers. Because one of the things you experience from the HND is that you have students from backgrounds that are not science inclined.
Yeah.
And so you need the lecturers who are experienced, who are patient, who have the skill. So we don't just go we just go out there and we just speak because, let me say, maybe you have a certificate or because we are a PhD lecturer. No. We pick the people who can actually transmit information to the students. And one of the things that is sure about our program is that, just like what my colleague said, we are into the emerging technology. And that is why if you look at our programs, you will see we have incorporated artificial intelligence, we have incorporated cyber security, cloud computing, data science, because that is where we are and that is where we are going to. And just last year, we had almost 100 projects on these things. Okay, and so that's one thing about Landmark. We are for the future. We are training our students for the future and to solve whatever problem they encounter when they leave the Landmark school.
Thank you very much, Madam Praise, for that explanation. Now, what about postgraduate trainings?
Okay. In the Landmark School of Science, Engineering and Technology, I think the director is here. He has actually led that school for a given time, so he can come in exactly to add to what I have to say. But
okay.
In the postgraduate school, there are two unique principles that we have to look at. We don't just admit students because they want to do a postgraduate study. We admit students with a very strong background and desire for the postgraduate school. In the postgraduate school, we have actually three very vibrant specializations.
Yeah.
We have the postgraduate master's program in data science. We have the postgraduate master's program in software engineering. We have the postgraduate master's program in, of course, information and communication security, which people call cyber security. Now, why do we rely, or why do we insist very much on this innovation, or in these programs that are of the future? That is because we know exactly what the job market is looking for. We understand that the need for these specialists is very high, and that is why we have introduce these programs. I think just for the viewers' consumption, the listeners' consumption, sorry, we have a very excellent batch of master students we have sent out there. A lot of them have done wonders. If you wish, you can pass by on campus and see exactly what I've been able to do. In terms of teaching in the postgraduate school, like I said, innovation is at the center stage of LICET, in Landmark totally. Every lecture hall is provided with every facility to be able for lecturers to be able to use to actually deliver top-notch lectures. Yes, we have screens, digitalized screens on all classrooms. We have tools put at the disposal of lecturers to be able to dish out this knowledge to students in a very convenient, easy to accommodate, technologically oriented manner. And so to speak, there are just a lot of things I can say about the postgraduate school, and of course the tutoring in that school, and also the projects that the students have been able to come up with. But I would kindly extend a hand to the director to maybe throw more light on exactly some of the aspects that are ongoing in the postgraduate school in these three programs.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modest. Thank you, Ma. I will go back to the programs that come to the postgraduate school. Let me give you, our listeners, a synopsis on how Landmark's programs are tailored. Madam Bisson highlighted earlier about us training in different aspects. I will start with each program and look at its uniqueness. The HND program generally on its own comes with already a predefined curriculum. That's what I'm also train these students. And if you are listening to me and you have done the HND, or you have your child that have done the HND before, general challenges we observe with them is that when they leave HND to transition to doing a one-year bachelor, they most of the time feel wanting because they are taught on legacy technologies and not emerging technologies. We understand the desire for legacy technology and the curriculum demands, but our curriculum goes beyond legacy. In what aspect? Running the School of Science, Engineering and Technology in partnership with one of the vibrant part of the Landmark, which is the Landmark Technologies, Landmark Software Solution, which is a company for talent selection and groom, was formed. Now with this, every year within the holidays, all those who go through that year one, they spend 75 days on campus. This 75 days program run from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and there are some listening to us from other institutions that we always admit. Yearly we have application of close to 900 and we can only select 300 most of the time. And we always extend at least a hand of at least 100 from other institutions to join us to our last pool of students. This program is tailored that even though they get legacy technologies within other courses, before they finish their year one, they have emerging technologies. At the HND level, that is how we bridge the gap. And our 4 semesters are technically drafted to meet specific needs. The director delegate highlighted earlier that our first semester most generally are to give the students foundation courses. We run our first semester like secondary school to make sure that by the time you finish the first semester, if there were many things you didn't have at secondary school, you have it at the university level.
Okay.
Our third semester, that is where the transformation comes generally. After your first 2 semesters, when you go for that vacation break where you have for 75 days within the boot camp, when they come here to they come with a different fire.
Yeah.
They don't come all of those who want to pass. Passing is already guaranteed. It's a bonus.
Of course.
Because key acquisition at the end of the boot camp, you must show project. So the third semester, now the courses are tailored towards enabling you get that skill. Permit me transition to the bachelor. Imagine going to an institution where you did art, for example, and you have 10 points in art, or 15 points in art, or 3 points in art, and you come and you're in the same classmate with those who do sciences and have 25 points in sciences.
Yeah.
That environment gives you the opportunity to learn. So having an institution that does not attract mediocres, but attracting those who had opportunity to do something better somewhere else, create an environment. And at the bachelor level is same scenario. When most of them go to the level 300, there are courses now on emerging technology. And thankful that the partnership memorandum of understanding, for those who understand what I say, with the partnership university gives you the opportunity to review your curriculum every 2 years. So we review our curriculums every 2 years because tech does not remain on the spot. So that memorandum gives you that. But many people run away from that because it comes with a lot of work. You must be current. And our staff capacity on campus does not end on teaching. You can't speak tech alone on teaching. With this landmark technology, landmark software solutions, which are solution-driven institutions to bring emerging technology to help the institution, as a lecturer belonging to that research team, you must work. And once you work, you come to the classroom, the kind of example you take as scenario-based. And all of our students can testify to that. Our examination have a structure. They must be scenario based. If it's on 70, scenario based must be 50 marks.
50 marks.
Even if you are testing knowledge, which is part of the Bloom's taxonomy, but scenario based must be that. And that reflects itself at the level of the postgraduate students. 75% of our students that do undergraduate do postgraduate with us.
Yes.
It's just to tell you the testimony. 75% of them continue. At the postgraduate school is research. By the time our students leave the undergraduate, with that feeling of blending both legacy technology and emerging technology, and the ability to be exposed to solving problems via developing solutions, where they go to aspects of postgraduate where they drive innovation, it becomes very easy for them to actually apply. So, and we, Jefferson spoke about having an institution that listens. What is the meaning of an institution that listens? It's an institution that prides in its students. Your solutions are not looked upon like mediocre. They are made better for our consumption. We consume our solutions. If you come, you see we consume our solutions. Almost all aspects, when we notice a problem, we look at how a digitalized solutions can digitalize it. And a particular class, based on their study level, they are brought into it to solve that problem. So if you are thinking of an environment where your voice is heard, and when we talk about voice in tech, we mean your thoughts. Your ideas are heard. Your ideas can be nurtured. It can be cultured and propelled to be able to compete globally. Then the School of Engineering and Landmark is your choice. I'm not saying one of the choices. I'm saying it's your choice.
It's your choice.
Yeah, we are certain, and we have been speaking on media for the past 5 years, and nobody has told us something different, because we don't just stop. When you come, you see and you feel the difference, and that's one of the key things we want our listeners to pay attention to today. Thank you.
Landmark is the university you are looking for. It's not one of the options. It is the only choice you have. Thank you very much. Now let us look at industry readiness and employability. Now the essence of studying is either to become an employer or to be an employee, because the end result is to be able to meet to the needs of societal problems and also sustainability. Now on to you. We stay with Mr. Carr. Yes. How are industries out there, their readiness to employ these students that you are raising, and not just about employing them, but do you create a system where these students can as well become employers? In other words, come up with tech industries where they could as well employ other persons.
Thank you very much for the question. What I put it, how are our students ready to embrace emerging technologies? Most of the time, being someone that have worked as well as a radio here for long yourself, you understand that most of the time employers don't generally like those who learn on the job. Many a time. Most of the job you are looking for now, they ask you for 5 years experience, 3 years experience, 2 years experience. And if you are leaving school, the general question you ask yourself is, where did you experience? How did you get your experience? That is basically the challenge. We understood that question. And generally at times we have what we call seminars, and the theme is short in what the president will say, what next? That's the question we ask ourselves. What next? When we admit our students into year 1, we always ask ourselves the question, what next? And if there's any of our students listening to us, they always say, I always take an example like, if your parents can invest close to 2 million on you for your 3 years of studies, imagine they took that money and put it in a poultry to raise fowl. There will be fowl flocks in Moya. I always tell them that particular example. That if you have decided that education is your way out, you have to put in your all. So in understanding the question of what next, we make sure that along the pipeline of our training, end to end, the aspect that exposes the student to the company or the industry environment. You can only transition from the classroom to an industry environment and be comfortable even without having so much of experience if you are exposed to that kind of environment. Reason why earlier, before now, I highlighted the Landmark Software Solution and the Landmark Technologies, which are 2 companies, not in theory, not in idea, but companies that are bringing out solutions for society. And our students yearly compete to be part of that team. In January, for example, to take the example, the second week of January, we are planning 3 days intensive industry orientation for all departments. What generally happens within those kind of sessions? Within those sessions, the students solve scenario-based questions under the tutorship of industry experts of problems that the individual fields can experience when they go to the field. That is one aspect. Secondly, when we have our symposiums, IT symposium, which we had last year, we'll still have some this year. Generally, the companies that exist around, for advertisement purposes, I won't mention any of them. The company that exists around, we have a series of memorandum of understanding with them. I will tell you for free, most of them, sometimes when holidays come, they write us a letter requesting for us to select best of our students in particular discipline and send to them, which we have always respected as a culture. And the testimony when they go and come by non-negative testimony. Sometimes we move around and say, oh, Mr. Kayupa doing well. I can see some of these students here. Our friends tell us that because when we send our students there on recommendation, they don't go and come back. In addition to that, Landmark Group, it's not just Metropolitan, the whole Landmark Group, consume its product. That's one of the only company I can tell you with all certainty that trains a product and is proud to consume the product. If you go through construction and logistics, if you go to technology, you go to software solution, you go to the university and all the Landmark branch, you will see multiple Landmark students working in this environment. The idea behind university nowadays, as stated by the Minister of Higher Education by law of July 2023, emphasizes university to become entrepreneurial university. And we had already bought that vision. When we saw that letter come, we thought maybe the minister visited us and had more ideas. We had already bought that. And away from that, he said, even if going to the industry, you need to be able to drive. And now we have Landmark driving school to expect students at a reduced cost with their programs well set in place at the department level, expecting them to drive. So we at Landmark as that we answer the question, what next? And by answering the question and being tutored, we force our learners to follow the path of answering themselves the question, what next? If they will tell you, most of the students will tell that Landmark teach plus conscience. When you attend one class, you fulfill Romans 12 verse 2, be transformed by the renewal of your mind. So you can attest what God's will is perfect and pleasing. So when you finish a class, you are not just learning. You are actually top of student will ask them a simple question. You'll be finishing in 7 months. What will you do after that? We'll start making them understand that life doesn't end after school. When you finish, you are not going to control books, control pen, or write exam. You are facing the reality of the field. So we make them to know that we are preparing our students to be industry ready. And next time when we come, I can promise you that we'll come with industry experts. Yeah. We are hoping to call some of them that are working in some of the good companies in Cameroon for them to come and tell you. I will just share one of the testimonies. One of the students were doing Mr. Models course, which is data analysis with Python. Yeah. And she was asking me, sir, I'm a software engineer. What am I doing with data analysis and Python? That's about 2 years ago. When she finished, she went and worked with one of the biggest NGO we know now. She is their data scientist.
Exactly.
Wow. And all the aspects she learned, that is the aspect she's using. And statistics show, for those who do research, 85% of job people in the world, they don't work in jobs that relate to the highest degree, and we understand that. That's why our training program does not limit ourselves only to that, but to other aspects. If somebody tell you, okay, you finish like cybersecurity, you go and work like a cybersecurity engineer, it's not true. There are multiple jobs within the cybersecurity field: cybersecurity consultant, analyst, architect, many other jobs,
of them.
and that is the orientation on which Landmark builds itself.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carr. Just to let you know, dear listeners, that Landmark Metropolitan University is just a segment of the Landmark group of companies. So you better understand when they tell you that they consume their own, that is just it. I know you have a lot to say. I know, but trust me, you have the time to do that. We have barely about 14 minutes to wrap up with today's edition of this very special program with the Landmark Metropolitan University. Now to you, Mr. Jefferson, who has gone through the students' life. You understand it better. So what is life like when it comes to Landmark School of Science, Engineering and Technology?
Okay, well, I'm going to say that the simple answer is that it's not easy. That's the simple answer. There are a lot of challenges that you go through, but one that is very, very, that all students are going to tell you is that there's a lot of group work. There's a lot of practical project work. I remember in my last year in school, which was last year, I had about 7 courses, and out of the 7 courses, I have 6 projects in 6 different courses. So the question is, how are you supposed to complete that on time? Because they are very important for your career, first of all, and then secondly for your marks or for your scores, I'll say. So in that aspect, it's very challenging at Landmark. But what is very interesting is that you have the opportunity to grow into many different areas. My HODs and directors have been talking about letting all the students, no matter the department, being able to grow in these emerging fields of technology. As a software engineering student in Landmark, you have the opportunity to even grow wild, because you always have these opportunities to be at the front, to lead the other students in the different departments when it comes to these emerging fields of technology. So, first of all, you grow as a leader, and then you grow career-wise, and it's something that every student will appreciate, really. Another thing is that when we talk about the projects that we get in school, I don't know, I think I should elaborate on one instance. I had this project in mind. I was thinking of digitalizing attendances in Landmark Metropolitan University, because the truth is that everything was going on smoothly. But if maybe the school has to give an attendance report, it might take maybe 20 minutes to give the attendance report. I was thinking of a way, how can this attendance report be given in maybe a matter of 15 to 30 seconds, right? So I and a couple of friends, we came up with the project and we started building it. So we're thinking, after this class, how does the school have this attendance without anybody budging up and down, maybe calling names, ticking names, or at least going around the class and all things like that. So our first solution was to generate QR codes, and everybody in class scans them. But there was a problem, and the problem was, what if somebody in class snaps that QR code and sends to someone who is at home? The person at home is going to record attendance, but the person is not in class. That's injustice. So we thought of another way, and we said, okay, what if we buy biometric scanners so that everybody puts a fingerprint? But now the question with that is that we have joint classes, right? A class of about 250 students. When would that biometric scanner go around the class? Another problem. So one thing in Landmark is that they teach you all the skills you need to get the job done. So the truth is that when I say all the skills you need, it's impossible to actually teach someone all the skills you need. In Landmark, it's kind of like they give you fuel that will take you from the beginning of the journey to the end of the journey. So that fuel that I'm talking about in Landmark is the ability for research. So we have this research focus area where they teach you how to research, how to solve problems that you've not been told you will find, how to solve problems that you will meet in the future, but you don't know what that problem is. They teach you how to do that. And in the case of that project, that was the problem. The problem was, how do we actually solve this thing? How do we make sure that someone who is not in class does not record attendance? And we're able to come upon a terminology called geolocalization. When we fell upon this terminology, it was new to us because they did not teach us, but they taught us the skill required to find that terminology.
Yeah.
So we studied it day and night, and then finally we're able to include geolocalization into our solution and make sure that anybody who is actually scanning that QR code must be in the school vicinity, particularly in that particular class.
Wow.
And that alone helped us to solve that problem. So after that, now it was very, very easy for the school to record attendance, send attendance to parents who need to know the whereabouts of their children from day to day in school and things like that. So when they are talking about project-based, skill-based, it's not something that you have to think about, like how possible is that or how true is that, because it is a reality. And that's the point where most students complain, like they say a workload is too much, but in reality, for serious students, right, for students who know where they want to be, where they are going to, for students who don't want to play games but want to build them, I think that is the place for you, because you get everything that you want and more in Landmark Metropolitan University.
Thank you very much for sharing that beautiful experience. I'm sure some of our listeners out there are already craving for such an experience at Landmark Metropolitan University. From what the administrators, the director, the HOD have said, trust me, I can attest that Landmark has supportive lecturers who are always there to ensure that things are not just done but done properly. And also Mr. Modest mentioned the aspect of projects, teamwork, so it's indeed a whole lot. Now still to you, Mr. Jefferson, would you advise somebody listening to us out there to choose this department for further studies? Maybe a high school student listening right now, would you advise them to choose this particular department?
Okay, thank you very much. When you say department, it's kind of, do you mean my department or
your department? Okay. There are several other departments, but why should I not study maybe something from another school of studies? Why should I choose technology?
Okay. So actually, that's a very easy question, because when I chose this field, I did not see a competition. I did not see another competition like in the next 10, 20, 15 years.
You don't regret why you chose it?
I will not. If I have to choose again 10 times, I'm going to choose the same field. So, and the reason is because to be a software engineer, it's not just about going to school, getting the grades, and then the skills to be a software engineer. Mm-hmm. That's not all about it, because when you go to school, yes, get the grades, get the skills, and then get the skills that you will need for tomorrow, because software engineering will change in 2 years. It's going to change in 2 years. In 4 years, it will change. In maybe 20 years, it will be something completely different. So it's a field where when you step your leg into it, you need to make up your mind and be ready, because you will learn every single day. Like from the day you become an expert to the day you become an expert, you will continue learning. That's how software engineering is. In Landmark, that's a field that is very, very connected to other technology fields. So if I take data science, for example, software engineers in Landmark have a semester where their focus is data science. Yeah. They have a semester where, in the same semester, data science and artificial intelligence, for example. In the same semester, you also have research methodologies, how to carry out research, how do you go about it. There's this common misconception that a lot of students say, I am a science student, I don't need to write English well, I don't need to write French well. That's not the case in Landmark. In Landmark, you're a science student, tomorrow you're going to write research papers, you're going to come out with a lot of things. So all of these things come into play. So I'll definitely recommend software engineering at Landmark Metropolitan University for anybody who dreams of that field.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jefferson. We have barely 5 minutes to wrap up with this edition of the program. Now we turn our mic to the director. When we look at Jefferson has said a lot, But there are some other students who will not be opportune as him because of wrong orientation. Yes, when a student walks into a university not knowing what he or she wants for herself, she needs somebody to orientate him or her on the different courses that are being offered in the different departments. At times, the way you paint a particular department to a student will determine what the student will go in for. I've had my own share of that experience. Now on to you, Mr. Director. When it comes to admission and parenting and future plans, there are some parents that wants to determine what their children should offer, and parents often worry about quality. What assurance do you give them that this particular thing that your child is going in for is nothing but the best? Because as an experienced somebody, I have heard what he has said. I know what he's passionate about, and if I can recommend this, I'm sure this will work for him.
Okay, thank you very much. As a testimony, 90% of our students have recommendation coming from Europe. 90% of our students have those who sponsor them come from Europe. So it should tell you that those who are actually where emerging technology is emerging recommend their students to come to us because of our Landmark Tech program. So many of them know about it and they send their students to Landmark. If you ask, out of every 10 students, 8 of them, their recommendation is coming from abroad. So quality most of the time is guaranteed. Now, I'm going to talk about the different platforms through which we orientate students. First of all, we have what we call help desks. Help desk is a technology. That means when you try to get skills in something and you are stuck, you have somebody that holds your hand along the way. So during our admission processes, both of our campuses have help desks. Help desks are sections within the admission environment which is focused on orientating you to the career which you want to do. That is one aspect. Secondly, at the end of the first semester, I'll come back to the help desk, but permit me just highlight most of them. At the end of the first semester, there's always what we call career selection symposium, maths experience symposiums. These are different environments where after a student has studied for for a semester, and now understand exactly what this diverse field has to offer, he or she has a possibility to switch another field after the first semester because of our curriculum development. But let me take you back to the help desk. Most of the time, the aspiration of parents and the aspiration of students are diverse depending on the intellectual capability of all parents. Some parents are actually educated and they mean well for their children and they want to select things that will position them based on statistics for the future. But some generally based on the influence of their friends. So during our orientation session, there are some orientation session that goes alongside the parents and the students once we notice that the parents have enough depth to understand the emergence of the future. But the situation where we understand that the parents necessarily don't have, what we do is that we separate them. We have a different team talking with the parents to understand exactly what the parent need, and another team speaking exactly with their children to understand what the students need. And most of the time I will tell you both of them need the same thing but are communicating differently. And at the end of that, we do a mediation and to be able to bring both to a common platform. And even if a student starts his semester on what the parents wanted, and along the way we see his passion for something driving in, we always call the parents to our student affairs office to be able to discuss with the parents and tell the parent that what their child is also doing emerging in the world is also going to affect the world as well. And he has been working for us testimony for more than 5 years.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ka. We are wrapping up already because we have to pray at 12 noon with our prayer partners out there. Now, let's wrap up with this. I'm sure Landmark is preparing something huge tomorrow. Madam Praise, can you just throw more lights on that as we wrap up?
All right, thank you so much. Yes, tomorrow we'll be having our convocation where we'll be graduating the 16th batch of students and matriculating the new coming students. And so we have more than 100 students, almost 200 students will be graduating from the and those who just had the HND, the BTech, and the master students. And it's actually going to be a very grand occasion. And in addition to that, we are going to be inaugurating the campus estate, which is known as the Wonders Estate, and it's actually going to be a grand occasion, and we are actually inviting everyone who can make it there.
Thank you very much. Of course, we will be there to see every details of tomorrow. Now, your last words, Mr. Modest, as we wrap up.
Thank you very much. Dear listeners, Landmark School of Science, Engineering and Technology is here for you. We are the biggest in the region. If you have any science-oriented, engineering-oriented specialization in your mind, in your guardian's mind, in your children's mind. Your child is in secondary school right now. Probably the child even passed. There is no money to send the child to school. Did you hear that Landmark offers scholarships to students? Bring your child to us. Bring those individuals to us. We are going to transform them. Landmark is a transformative university. We are going to transform them from what they are to what we want them to be, those fine engineers that they are hoping to be. And of course, Landmark has real opportunities as an institution. So you are welcome. Come all. We thank you very much for listening to us today, and I'm very delighted to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modest. Dear listeners, it is either Landmark or Landmark. Yes, there is none beside Landmark. Thank you all so much for staying glued to your radio set as we have come to the end of today's edition of this special program with the Landmark Metropolitan University in Boya. You have been in the company of Mr. Ka, who happens to be the director of that institution. We've had with us Madam Praise, who happens to be the HOD, and Mr. Kang Modest, too, the director delegate, has been with us in the campus, who also is the HOD of software engineering. And of course, we had Mr. Jefferson, who has been the student representative on today's edition of your this program. I've been your humble host, Takom Clarin Nzivita. See you again on Saturday on another beautiful edition with another school from the Landmark Metropolitan University. Do have a blessed day ahead as we dive to a call to pray.
This is the end time.